that was a fucking crazy episode. Power, season 6, episode 8, Deal with the Devil. It's so much shit to process, man. I just gotta get it out the way. Rest in peace to Lakeisha. Man, I mean, you all, I said it 2 episodes ago they were gonna have to pop her, but I didn't think it was gonna happen the way it did. The predictable fashion would have been Tommy flips out and kills her for cooperating with the feds. You know, like he kind of like how he took out Holly, or either Ghost was gonna do it. But if you notice, Ghost has become non-violent this season, and they threw a curveball at it. So give the writers and them credit, man. I don't think anybody would have predicted this. That Tasha, out of all people, who we never seen bust her gun, would have been the one to kill her former best friend. So that was fucking crazy. That was like the shock moment of the week. But Deal with the Devil was the title of this episode. It starts off with Dre approaching Sax about the ankle monitor. He wants him to take that shit the fuck off. Sax is an asshole. He's like, no, I'm not fucking with it. Leave it alone. So when he calls Ghost, and Ghost is like, yo, what happened? You were supposed to meet up with us at the meeting with Jason. And he was like, yo, I can't meet Jason. I got an ankle monitor on. If he sees that, they're going to fucking kill me. And Ghost is like, look, I don't want nothing to do with you. You got that shit on your ankle. Get the fuck out of my face. So now Dre and Ghost are back on the beef inside again. Not that Ghost ever trusted him anyway. So that leaves things open for that. Tommy and Keisha, of course, like last episode, they got that new house. So now they're settled into this new house. And they're going to try to play lovey-dovey. She's not kind of used to the suburbs. Neither is her son, Cash. But this is, like I say, this is what they do. They kind of butter you up and they kind of get you to get emotionally involved, invested into these characters. They have to bring in their kids and stuff like that. So that way it means more when the person gets killed. So that was the whole purpose of Cash in this whole season period. Because we didn't even know she had a son up until, last year? So back to Sax. And Sax is a big star in this episode. I mean, of course, he got fired from the feds last week. So he's no longer even working, for the federal government. But he's still hell-bent to try to solve this case. So he confronts Tariq at his new school. And Tariq puts him on game. He's like, look, this is illegal. You can't confront me without my parents. He's a minor. And meanwhile, Sax is asking him, why did he let Tommy in the penthouse the night Proctor was killed? He ain't got nothing on Tariq because he does, but he can't talk to Tariq. It's illegal. So then he confronts Keisha at the new house, and he's trying to scare her straight. And she doesn't kind of buy into it yet. It's Bianca who later on gets her. But, Sax is just trying to, basically, he's trying to get her to cooperate, but she doesn't buy it when it comes to her. Tariq then thinks his new teacher wants in on his drug business because his teacher's like, let me see what's in your book bag, and are you holding? And then he's telling him about how much money he can make more here, and he's in the inner city. So it's a business idea that Tariq has. I think it's a horrible idea though. I don't think Tariq should be trusting anybody at this point, especially after everything he's went through. But this is Tariq. It wouldn't be Tariq without it. While Keisha is settling at home, Kate pulls up to Tommy's mom and tries to move in. But I really don't think she was trying to move in. I think this is another attempt to scare Keisha straight because Kate realizes Lakeisha is a good person. And she just wants to scare her straight to get her the fuck away from her son because she know Tommy ain't shit. So she comes in there with a bag and she puts her pictures up. But she's really just trying to check Keisha. And she finally drops the bomb and tells Keisha about what happened to Holly. And Keisha's never heard about none of this. No one's ever told her what happened to Holly. So it kind of shooks her up a little bit, but she's still, as stupid as it is, she still decides to hang with Tommy. And like I say, this is kind of like her farewell warning. Because, Tasha had already tell her, be careful with Tommy. People have given her hints, but she didn't know. So Kate tells her that, but she still, decides to stay around. So then Tariq, going back to Tariq, him and Tasha are talking at the daycare, and she's training him because remember he got that brick from Dre, so she's teaching him how to move this brick, and they're counting up the money, and she's telling him 3 rules: no lying, no using, and no stealing. And it's just like she's taking him through like a training course, almost like mother and son. So Tasha's mom comes in, and I love Tasha's mom. And Tasha's mom comes in and goes off because she sees that big pile of cash, and she's like, "Where's that from?" And Tasha sends Tariq to go to his dad's house to pick up his tuition check. And in that point, Tasha and her mother are talking, and she's like, "How you gonna drag your son into this? I know that's drug money." You know what I mean? And she's like, "How I pay my rent is my goddamn business, and this and that." And then her mother's like, "You need Jesus." And meanwhile, Tariq is at his dad's house to pick up the check, and Ghost is showing him the Queen's Child Project layout, which is supposed to be to honor Raina. But Tariq is so disrespectful, he could give a fuck less about it. Ghost is talking about naming the basketball court after Tariq. But like I said, Ghost is so delusional, he still thinks that Tariq is got his head on straight. He's back in school. It's crazy. And the dude is still calling his father Ghost, and he's still cursing around him. And I'm like, this is crazy how Ghost just lets this kid just talk to him any old kind of way. Nobody else could get away with that kind of disrespect but Tariq. And it's the only thing. Everybody on this show is still the same character. The only people who've changed, Tariq has gotten worse. Ghost has gotten better. Ghost has been completely nonviolent this season, where in other seasons he would have had 3 or 4 bodies by now. He's taken the nonviolent approach in every chance he's had to kill somebody in this season. And Tariq of course, Tariq has gotten all time worse. Just food for thought. Now, when Sax rolls up on Bianca and for one last chance, because she's almost about to shut the door in his face, and she's got a hot wife, and him and himself, he tells her that Keisha and Tommy have paperwork on the house, which makes her an accomplice, and that they can flip her to get Tommy. And then she lets him come in, and she's still stuck on this Raymond Jones case, Ray Ray, who killed Raina. And she's mentioned that Eric Stark is the one who picked up Kanan's ashes, but they find out Eric Stark is Tariq. Because I was wondering in episode 1 of the season, how was he eligible to pick up Kanan's ashes? Remember him and Tommy threw him out on the rooftop and Tommy smoked it? Well, Tariq got a fake ID named Eric Stark. He had that under Kanan. And she wants to get him and Dre, but has no way to pull it together. So Sax gives her the serial number monitor so she could track down Dre Coleman. And they make a deal. And with her wanting Dre to get answers, they think Kanan killed Raymond Jones, but Dre tells her no, Kanan wasn't even in town that day. He was in D.C. And then she tells him, well, who did it? He tells her, look, if you want me to talk, you're going to have to take this ankle monitor off my off my ankle and nail Sax. And she agrees. And then that's when he tells her that it was Tariq the whole time. So everybody's snitching and turning each other's back and shit. This one, that one, this one, that one. So it was a lot of pulling power. Everybody's trying to get power. That's why the show's called Power. So Councilman Tate, you go back to Councilman Tate. Now he's getting ready for his debate. And Ghost and Derek have teamed up to compromise his whole campaign. And Ghost gives him one last chance at the QCP. But Tate just goes off. And he's like, man, that project ain't shit. They don't care about 2 black guys from the inner city. These are upstate people. And then he starts talking shit about the lady he's debating, how she's a fucking idiot and all of this. And little does he know, the wire that they have on him, the audio has been turned up. Derek paid the engineer to, turn the audio up. And everybody hears him talking shit. And it just ruins his whole campaign. The campaign gets shut down. So, now you're finally seeing... We finally gonna see Ghost and Councilman Tate finally go off, because now he's no longer Councilman Tate. It's over. So there is no cookie cutter shit. And plus, you gotta remember, he hired that big dude to watch Ghost and to keep an eye out on Ghost. So you gotta keep an eye out on that too. Now, Tariq breaks into his teacher's office. He sees unpaid bills, tells Tasha that they should get to work him. They should work with this dude. No one's expected. I think it's a bad idea. But Tasha and him are going to try to make this work with him and his teacher selling dope out of the school. But that probably won't come in unfold until like the next episode. So Officer Bianca, this is the moment of the whole episode. When Officer Bianca pulls over Keisha and Cash, and they put Cash in the back seat, and Bianca tells her that the feds are closing in on Tommy Egan, that they need her corroboration. And they basically tell her, look, we believe that you're laundering money through your salon, his drug money. His LLC is all over your paperwork, and she's an accomplice, and he has her on the paperwork of the house. and they tell her, look, if you don't cooperate, bitch, you're going to be arrested and Cash will be taken into foster care because his father is an ex-convict. And that's what gets her to sign, because she's looking at that vision. She's looking at her son sitting in the back of that cop car crying. And they're telling her that they're going to put her son in foster care if she doesn't sign this cooperation paperwork. So she signs it just to get Cash back so he doesn't go into foster care. But she really has no intentions of flipping. And then she tells him after this, you can't tell nobody. And it literally, as soon as she tells him not to tell anybody, he ends up telling Tommy like the next day. And then that's when Tommy the fucking lunatic confronts Keisha. It's kind of like a scary vibe, because if you know how Tommy is and what he did to Holly, it's kind of scary the way that they shoot that scene and the intensity and the suspense. And he's telling her, why the fuck would they come after you in traffic court if they don't just have child services just for traffic tickets? And she tells him and breaks down what they did, how they got her to sign the paperwork, and she's not gonna snitch. And he, as vulnerable as Tommy is, he believes her and still stays with her and still rides with her. Like, that was Tommy's chance to kill Keisha, and he didn't, and he should have, but he couldn't help himself. And that's what Tommy does. He lets people that he really loves fuck him over. And unfortunately, Keisha fucked him over because of the way the feds cornered her. So then, Officer Bianca was a huge star in this episode, because here it is again. She confronts Ghost at the club about Tariq's involvement and tells him that Saxe approached his son at school, but then also tells him Saxe is no longer a federal agent. And at that point, because Tommy's already hit up Ghost and told him that they need to take out Saxe, but Ghost was like, look, I'm not killing a federal agent. But now that they know that that Saxe is no longer a Fed, that's what Tommy and Saxe go to his house. He's in there jacking off the lesbian porn. and they basically strap him down to a chair and put the plastic bag over his face, and they're about to kill him. And for the first time, you're going to see Ghost catch a body. And then, once again, like I said, the non-violent Ghost. Ghost used to be so violent, now he's not. He's finding out ways to do things the alternative way. And when Saxe starts, just out of desperation, he tells Ghost all the intel about what the feds know, and that, Ghost thinks in himself, and he's like, okay, hold up, we can use him as intel to help us out. And then he tells Tommy, you owe me one for what you did to Angela. So they save him. And Saxe gets to live another day. So that's how that happens. And then Ghost at the end, this is when Ghost is riding in the car and he tells Tasha that the feds have, their son, as far as intel on their son, and that Keisha's working with them, and that Keisha could possibly flip on Tariq because they already have her signed up for paperwork. And that's when, Tasha has to confront Keisha. And that's when the whole big fucking thing goes down. And of course, before that, finally, you get this final confrontation between Tate and Ghost when Tate tells him the Queen's Project is fucking over, which was a project Ghost wanted to do to honor his daughter Raina. And because Ghost jeopardized Tate's campaign, Tate has made it sure that the city is revoking all permits to the project site. And then he tells him, you fucked me and I return the favor. Now get the fuck out of my face. And Ghost actually walked off. I said, oh, this is going to be fucking shit. This is going to be crazy when they go at it. So finally we get to the big fucking scene where Tasha goes to Keisha's house. And Keisha's like, how the fuck did you get here? She's like, everybody at the shop knows you over here. And she tells her to keep Tariq's name out of her mouth. Meanwhile, Tommy's with Cash looking for engagement rings. So the way they shoot this, you kind of know somebody's walking out. No, only one of them are going to walk out of here between Keisha and Tasha. One of them is going to die. And meanwhile, Tommy's buying her a ring. So you're like, oh, that's fucked up, at the same time. And she's telling her, why is all these boxes in here? And she's looking, and Keisha's thinking about packing up, moving, and taking Cash and never being seen again. And Tasha's like, bitch, they gonna catch you. And when they catch you, they gonna make you talk. And Keisha really she got herself in something she just couldn't get herself out of. And she doesn't know how to do it. And it gets to a point where she stares at her pocketbook, which is the dumbest thing she did. And when she stared at her purse and Tasha put one and two together, that's when they go running after the bag to see, because she's got a gun in there. And then that's when they start this cat fight. And they're scrambling over this big fucking gun. And then by mistake, Tasha ends up killing Keisha. She ends up shooting her first. And then Keisha's just begging, What about Cash? What about Cash? And Tasha's like, Tasha is hesitant because she really can relate to that because she's lost a child of her own. She lost Raina to the same type of nonsense, same type of scenario via gun weapon. And she's hesitant at first when Keisha keeps singing, "What about Cash?" But then she thinks about her son and she's like, I got to do what I got to do. And that's when she pulls the trigger. And it's like, bow. And I'm like, wow. And I know a lot of people didn't like the Lakeisha character. Some people hated Lala's acting, but if you can't feel that, you just don't got no heart. Like that was sad. That was fucked up. For her to kill her estranged best friend, and she walks out of there, blood all over the place. It's ugly, and Tommy pulls up to the house, and when Tommy sees her body laying on the floor, he tells Cash to go back in the house and go back in the car and wait. And the episode goes off. So those are leads and cliffhangers, of course. But how is Tommy gonna react to Keisha's death? Is he gonna think that Ghost did it? Is he gonna assume? He's not gonna assume Tasha did it. No one would assume Tasha would do something like that. So it's gonna be interesting to see what Tommy's retaliation is. But this was a dope ass episode, man. The shock factor. Anytime a show could shock me, I'm pretty cool with that. So they threw a curveball at all of us. I don't think anybody could say they predicted Tasha was gonna kill Keisha. So this episode was dope, man. Let me know what y'all think about it. Deal with the Devil Power, season 6, episode 8. Rest in peace, Lakeisha, and that's all it is.